Okay, picture this. A really lavish dining room. It's got this warm, pink and intimate glow going on. We're 1912 spring.
Right, you've got the Birling family plus Gerald Croft celebrating. Champagne's flowing, ports being passed, there's a brand new engagement ring.
It looks like the absolute picture of comfort, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Total self-satisfaction. Their world feels, well, completely secure. Unsinkable, you might say.
And that's such a deliberate snapshot, isn't it? It's Edwardian England. Wealth creating this bubble for the privileged. Society, well, it was built on these really stark class divides.
For people watching then, in 1912, it would have felt familiar, maybe even aspirational.
But fast forward to 1945, when Priestley actually wrote it, the audience then had lived through 2 world wars, the Depression. For them, that scene is haunting. It's a reminder of a world that just spectacularly failed to see its own flaws.
And then, right in the middle of this self-congratulatory bubble,
Right.
bang, a sharp ring at the doorbell. Cuts right through everything.
Yep, and it brings this chilling news. A young working-class woman, Eva Smith, has just committed suicide.
And that's where we start our deep dive today.
Absolutely. Our mission here isn't just to, run through the plot of an Inspector Calls. We want to really pull apart that intricate chain of events Priestley talks about.
How this seemingly respectable family is connected to this woman's tragic death.
Exactly. And how Priestley uses this setup to expose the hypocrisies of that society. Plus, how the different generations react when they're faced with, well, their own responsibility.
These are really powerful social messages, and honestly, they still hit home today, don't they?
They really do. So we're going to try and distill the key insights from the play itself and also pull in some expert analysis, give you a really solid understanding without grounding you in detail.
Okay, so the setting. The Birling's dining room, Brumley, that's an industrial city in North Midlands. The players, Arthur and Sybil Birling, the parents.
Then their kids, Sheila and Eric, and Sheila's fiancé, Gerald Croft. Oh, and we can't forget the inspector himself, Goole.
Right. So let's soak in that atmosphere just before it all shatters. Arthur Birling, the patriarch. He's not just successful manufacturer.
No, he's like the poster boy for that pre-war laissez-faire capitalist mindset, completely convinced that it's all about looking out for yourself. Individual self-interest, that's what drives progress, according to him.
And he loves the sound of his own voice, doesn't he? Just holds court at the dinner table with these long, really quite arrogant speeches.
Oh, yeah. He's bursting with pride about Birling and Company, desperate for that merger with Crofts Limited, Gerald's family firm.
And he can almost taste that knighthood. As long as there's no scandal, of course, he's so wrapped up in himself.
And this is where Priestley just brilliantly deploys dramatic irony. It's almost savage. Birling dismisses any talk of labor trouble.
Says it's just wild talk.
Right. Insists employers are getting together for lower costs and higher prices. Then he says there isn't a chance of war, calls it fiddlesticks.
And the big one, the Titanic. Unsinkable. Absolutely unsinkable. Knowing what the 1945 audience knew, it's devastating.
It completely undermines him from the start. It's not just bad predictions. It's an indictment of his whole worldview. His whole philosophy is just shown to be bankrupt, really.
And he sums it up so perfectly, doesn't he? A man has to make his own way, has to look after himself and his family too, mind his own business and look after himself and his own community and all that nonsense.
Nonsense. He dismisses social responsibility as nonsense. Tells you everything you need to know.
And the family dynamics around the table, they also hint at problems beneath the surface, don't they?
Definitely. Sheila's teasing Gerald gaily, possessively about last summer. There's a hint of insecurity there.
And Eric's clearly uncomfortable. Already a bit squiffy, slightly drunk. That signals deeper issues right away.
And Mrs. Birling, Sybil, she's just exudes this cold, snobbish superiority, very focused on maintaining social appearances and keeping her distance from, well, anyone she considers beneath her.
They're all just so pleased with themselves, aren't they? Totally oblivious in their little bubble. Until... ring.
That sharp doorbell cuts Birling off mid-sentence. The atmosphere just flips instantly. That soft pink light changes to something brighter and harder. Reality intrudes.
And into that harder light steps Inspector Goole.
He's not described as physically huge, but he has this immediate impression of massiveness, solidity, and purposefulness.
Speaks carefully, weightily, looks right at people. It's unsettling for them.
And his method is key. One person and one line of inquiry at a time, otherwise there's a muddle. He controls the whole interaction, forces them to confront things individually. No hiding in the group.
So who's first in the hot seat? It has to be the head of the house, Arthur Birling.
Naturally, and his connection is the first link. The inspector reveals Eva Smith worked at his factory. Good worker, but fired.
Why? For being a ringleader. For asking for a raise, just a small one, from 22 and sixpence to 25 shillings a week.
And Burling's reaction is textbook him, isn't it? Absolutely refuses any responsibility. Calls it a perfectly straightforward case. Says it was his duty to keep labor costs down.
He even tries to pull rank, mentioning he's an alderman, former Lord Mayor, knows the chief constable.
Trying to intimidate Goole, but Goole just brushes it off. Status means nothing here. It's about what Birling did.
But even here, we see a little crack in the family front. Eric speaks up.
He does. He says, "It isn't if you can't go and work somewhere else, and I think it's a damn shame." That first hint of a different perspective, that generational divide starting to show.
Okay, so from Birling, the inspector turns his attention to Sheila, the daughter, and her link is quite different.
Yes. After being fired, Eva gets a job at Millward's, a fancy clothes shop. Sheila was a customer there.
And what happened?
Sheila admits she got Eva fired from that job too. Why? Because she was in a furious temper. Felt Eva smirked at her when she tried on a dress that didn't suit her. Jealousy, insecurity.
So she used her influence as a valued customer to have Eva dismissed, just like that.
Exactly. But Sheila's reaction to hearing about Eva's death now, it's completely different from her father's. She's immediately horrified, distressed.
Yeah, you really see her start to change, don't you? She says she feels rotten about it, vows she'd never do it again.
And she has that key line, "But these girls aren't cheap labor, they're people." It's a massive moment for her. She's starting to see beyond her own privileged bubble. Priestley clearly positions her as capable of empathy and change.
Okay, so Birling, then Sheila. Who's next in this chain?
Gerald Croft, Sheila's fiancé. His link involves Eva Smith after she lost the Millward's job. She was desperate and changed her name to Daisy Renton.
And Gerald met her.
Yes, at the Palace Music Hall, described as a place where men often picked up women. He says he rescued her from a lecherous older man, Alderman Meggerty.
Rescued her.
Well, that's his framing. He saw she was desperately hard up, hungry even, so he set her up in some rooms, gave her money. They had an affair for several months.
Until he ended it.
Until he ended it, yes. His reaction when confessing is interesting. A bit more complex than Birling's outright denial.
How so?
He shows some distress, some shame, admits he felt pity for her, even some affection. He mentions Daisy handled the breakup well, saying she'd been happier with him than ever before.
But for Sheila, hearing this is the final straw for their engagement, isn't it?
It is. She returns the ring, not just out of anger, but with this newfound clarity. She tells Gerald, "You and I aren't the same people who sat down to dinner." She's changed. He hasn't, not fundamentally.
The chain keeps tightening. Now it moves to the matriarch, Mrs. Birling. Sybil.
Right. And her involvement is arguably the cruelest, the most coldly deliberate. Eva, now pregnant and absolutely desperate, goes to the Brumley Women's Charity Organization for help.
And Mrs. Birling is the chairwoman.
Exactly. But Eva makes a mistake. Maybe out of confusion or some strange impulse, she uses the name Mrs. Birling.
Oh dear. That would not go down well with Sybil Birling.
Not at all. It prejudices Mrs. Birling against her immediately. Then Eva explains the father of the child is unreliable and she refused to take money from him because she suspected it was stolen.
Showing integrity again.
Yes, but Mrs. Birling sees it differently. She finds Eva impertinent, accuses her of claiming elaborate fine feelings and scruples that someone of her class shouldn't have, deems her not a deserving case.
And uses her influence to deny her help.
She admits she did, essentially, as the inspector puts it, slamming the door in her face.
Her reaction during the interrogation is just chillingly stubborn, isn't it?
Utterly. Cold, snobbish, completely denying any responsibility. Blames Eva. Blames the unknown father demanding the inspector find him and make him responsible. She tries to use her social standing to intimidate Goole, just like her husband.
And she still treats Sheila and Eric like they're about 10 years old.
Yeah.
No concept of them as adults with their own minds.
Zero. It's pure self-preservation and class prejudice, completely devoid of empathy.
Which brings us to the final link. The one Mrs. Birling was unknowingly condemning.
Eric.
Yes.
Oh.
The father of Eva's unborn child. Eric confesses he also met Eva as Daisy Renton at the Palace Bar. He was very drunk.
And he admits. What exactly? He admits he essentially forced himself on her initially. His words are stark. "I was in that state when a chap easily turns nasty and I threatened to make a row. He got her pregnant."
Oh my.
And then, riddled with guilt, he started stealing money from his father's office, about 50 pounds in total, to try and support her.
But she refused it.
She refused to take any more once she realized it was stolen, again highlighting her moral compass, even in that desperate situation.
Eric's reaction now, compared to his parents', is, again, starkly different.
Completely. He's overwhelmed with remorse. Oh my God, how stupid it all is, he cries out. And then he turns on his mother, realizing she was the charity woman who turned Eva away.
That confrontation is explosive.
It really is. And you killed her. She came to you to protect me and you turned her away. Yes, and you killed her. And the child, she'd have had two, my child, your own grandchild. You killed them both. Damn you, damn you.
Wow. Just lays it all bare. The family dysfunction, the hypocrisy.
And notice Mr. Birling's primary reaction to Eric's confession. Outrage about the theft, covering up the scandal, not the human tragedy.
Which leads to Eric's heartbreaking line to his father.
Because you're not the kind of father a chap could go to when he's in trouble, that's why. Just devastating. Shows the complete lack of trust and real connection there.
So everyone's part is now out in the open. The whole chain is visible. What does the inspector do then?
He delivers his final, powerful speech. It pulls everything together. He looks at them all and says flatly, each of you helped to kill her.
And then comes that core message.
We don't live alone. We are members of one body. We are responsible for each other. It's the absolute heart of the play's socialist message.
Followed by that incredibly chilling warning.
Yes. The time will soon come when, if men will not learn that lesson, then they will be taught it in fire and blood and anguish. For that 1945 audience, hearing that after 2 world wars, it must have landed like a thunderclap.
Priestley isn't pulling any punches there. It's a direct warning about the consequences of ignoring social responsibility.
Absolutely. And with that, he just walks straight out, leaves them there, staring, subdued, wondering.
But that subdued state doesn't last long for everyone, does it?
Not at all. The moment he's gone, the divide cracks wide open. Mr. and Mrs. Birling immediately focus on damage control. How can they cover this up? Was it even real?
They desperately want to believe it was all a joke, a hoax. If the inspector wasn't a real police officer, maybe their actions don't count.
It's that desire to escape responsibility. Contrast that sharply with Sheila and Eric. They're still reeling, deeply affected. They accept what they did.
Sheila's line here is so important, isn't it?
Crucial. She says, it doesn't much matter who it was who made us confess. And it was true, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what's important, and not whether a man is a police inspector or not. She gets it. The moral truth is the point, not the messenger's credentials.
But the older generation, and Gerald too, they grasp at straws to restore their comfort zone.
Right. Gerald goes off to check, calls a police sergeant he knows, and comes back triumphant. There's no Inspector Goole on the force.
They think they're off the hook. We've been had. It was all a hoax.
Mr. Birling even calls Colonel Roberts to get proof positive, and the relief is palpable. They immediately start reverting.
It's almost darkly comic how quickly they snap back.
It is. Mr. and Mrs. Birling are celebrating getting away with it. They start mocking Sheila and Eric, the famous younger generation who know it all, and they can't even take a joke.
And Gerald, he tries to give Sheila the ring back, as if nothing fundamental has changed.
Shows he hasn't really learned the deeper lesson, unlike Sheila. He thinks the crisis is purely about social exposure, not moral failing.
They think they dodged the bullet. They're settling back into their complacent world.
But Priestley has one last masterstroke. The phone rings. Sharply, just like the doorbell earlier.
Birling answers. And you see the color drain from his face.
He stammers out the news. It's the police. A girl has just died on her way to the infirmary after swallowing some disinfectant. And a police inspector is on his way here to ask some questions.
And the curtain falls, leaving them guilty and dumbfounded. Wow, what an ending.
It's stunning. It means the whole cycle is about to begin again, but this time it's real. There's no escaping it now. It hammers home all of Priestley's themes.
Let's quickly touch on those key themes again. Social responsibility is huge, obviously.
It's the central pillar. Written in 45, looking back at 12, Priestley is screaming for collective responsibility, for the welfare state ideas that were emerging, and rejecting that selfish individualism Birling represents.
And the idea of age and hope.
Very clear. Sheila and Eric are the hope. They show the capacity to learn, to change, to accept responsibility. Their parents and Gerald, ultimately, are stuck, stubbornly fixed. Priestley puts his faith in the younger generation to build a better world.
Class and inequality are woven through the whole thing via Eva Smith's story.
Absolutely. She represents the millions and millions of working-class people exploited by the system. Factory fodder, disposable shop girls, victims of upper-class whims, and charity gatekeepers. Her journey shows how precarious life was without wealth or status.
And gender. Eva's experiences highlight the vulnerability of women, particularly working-class women.
Definitely. They were often victimized, treated with disrespect, had few options. Eva's attempts at independence, asking for fair wages, refusing stolen money, contrast sharply with the entitled, often sexist attitudes of the men, and even Mrs. Birling's judgment of her supposed impertinence.
Finally, the inspector himself. That ambiguity is deliberate, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Is he a real inspector?
Huh.
A ghost? Time traveler? Conscience? Priestley's mouthpiece? It almost doesn't matter what he is. His function is crucial. He's the catalyst. He forces them to look at themselves, whether they ultimately learn from it or not. His reality is less important than the reality of their actions.
It's such a powerful piece of theater.
Yeah.
The impact of that visit, the way it splits the family between those who learn and those who just want to forget, it really stays with you.
It does. It refuses to offer easy answers or let anyone, characters or audience, completely off the hook.
It really forces you to think, doesn't it? Beyond the Birlings, they had their reckoning, or at least the start of one. But it makes you wonder about your own life, your own chain of events. How do the things we do, maybe small things we don't even think much about, ripple outwards? How do they affect other people? What responsibility do we have right now, today, for the wider community, for the Eva Smiths and John Smiths all around us?
That's the question Priestley leaves us with, isn't it? Still echoing, long after that final, chilling phone call.